you are, everybody. Welcome back. Bit of a different episode today. I wasn't going to do a video today, if I'm honest, with Christmas coming up, but then fate decided otherwise, because they've recently released Arcade Memories Vol.3 for the Taito Egret Mini, which wasn't supposed to come until after Christmas, but good old Amazon Japan, it arrived on Saturday, so about a week before it should have done. Amazing service. Anyway, I thought I'd just do a quick run through of what was on it, in case you were thinking about it. I'm sure you all know about the Egret Mini. I would possibly say that's the best mini console you can buy. Fantastic. I don't think I've actually ever done a video about it on this channel. All the previous arcade releases, sort of additional add-on packs. So there's 3 of them now, obviously, but it's number 3 that got released like this week. It's just the same as the others. It comes in the larger box, like so, and with the same sort of comic book style magazine highlighting, you know, each game on the package. I always feel these are kind of weird, aren't they? It's like the internal packaging, you know, and it's missing the outer box. You feel like there should be an outer box in the DVD box style that this sits inside, but I don't know what they're thinking, but that's how you get them anyway, just in a bag. So yeah, Arcade Memories Vol.3. I thought when I first inserted the card, it was faulty because it wouldn't work. So I started to panic a bit. I then had a quick Google and discovered that to play this Vol.3, you've got to update your console with a firmware update, which you can download off the Taito Egret website. That filled me with dread because I am shockingly bad at computer techie stuff. So I thought to myself, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. You need a SD, certain type of SD card you've got to use. So I had to buy one of these. It's an SDHC card you've got to use, with a max 32 gig capacity. So I've had to order one of them the day this came, which came yesterday. Then I had to go at updating the firmware as the instructions on the website told you, which is easy enough. You just download the firmware onto your computer. You then have to transfer it to your card after you've formatted it to FAT32, and then you have to, it's a bit not complicated, but you have to unplug the wire, the power wire from the back of the egret. Then you turn the switch on, put the SD card in, then you hold down buttons E and F while reinserting the power cable. That then allows the console to take the update off the memory card. So I did that, at which point I got a blue screen up full of Japanese writing, and then in English underneath it said failed. I thought, oh dear. And it was stuck on that, so I couldn't get off it. Turning it off made no difference, so I had to pull the lead out, put it all back on, plugged it back in rather. It then wouldn't come on. I thought, oh dear, I've bricked the system. a £200 mistake if you take into account the cost of the cards and the console and the memory card. Messed about with it, couldn't get it back on, and then I decided I'd re-download the file, put it on the card again, try again, no different, and I was about to give up, and then I tried it third time while reading the instructions. Funny, men don't read instructions, do they? But what I'd forgot to do was unzip the file. Didn't know how to do that, so had a Google, worked out how to unzip the file, then put it on the memory card, went through the same process, and hey presto, the update worked. It was back on, and the Volume 3 card was working, because like I say, until you've done the update, the Volume 3 card won't work. I think there are also some quality of life fixes and sort of patches to previous editions and games on the system, and also it allows you to use the cyber stick, I believe, as well, which I have looked into. I mean, it's super cool, but it's so expensive. You know, 175 quid for the cyber stick, which is like basically kind of an aeroplane controller with a thrust and a joystick. I mean, it's awesome, but it don't work on that many games, so you can't justify the price. Anyway, the stick now works. These arcade memories, sort of extra volumes you can buy for the Egret, they're not really very cheap, I would say. I think they're quite overpriced. You only get like 8-10 games on each. Basically, you're buying a memory card with like ROMs of, you know, a further 8 or 10 games to play on your Egret. But when you put the card in, you can't access the original games on it. You can only play the games on the card. But anyway, I think it worked out at 58 quid for this Volume 3, which, you know, like I say, I don't think it's particularly cheap, but there are some quite cool and unusual games on this volume, so I thought we'd just have a quick look at what is actually on it, and, you know, just in case you were thinking of getting it yourself. But we'll switch the camera around now, we'll have a look, and you can see what you think. Right, here we are again. Taito Egret Mini 2 Arcade Memories Volume 3. 10 games included on this one. Quite a few of them are a bit quirky, and I'd never heard of the games, to be honest, until I've tried them on here. So we'll just have a quick run through so you can see what's on the card. First of all, we've got Mr. Do. I'd obviously heard of this. Though, to be honest, I'd never really played it much until very recently, when I got the Coleco version. And I do actually think this game is really good. Much in the Dig Dug mould, yet also different. Now this one's 4-way control, which would work better on the actual console itself, because the joypad is 8-way, so it don't work that well. However, Mr. Do, that is an excellent game. Now Rumba Lumba, I've never heard of this, and I had to Google how to play it. I couldn't understand what I was doing to start with. And basically, you have to trap the bird over a group of 4 trees, like so, while avoiding the enemies within the maze. And I think you get more points the more trees you leave. And then this dinosaur really missed him. But there we go, we've trapped the bird on 4 trees again. And you get more points the more trees you leave, like I say. Now I wasn't keen on this to start with, but the more I play it, I'm really quite enjoying this. This is bang up my street, this kind of thing. Close to doing that then. But yeah, this is bang up my street now, this kind of thing. And I do actually think this is quite good now. Because the bird can only fly over the trees, it can't fly over the open grounds you've created. So you've kind of got to trap it. And then once you've trapped it, it makes your life a bit easier. But the dinosaur gets in the way, and you can crush him with those rock sort of wheels. I actually think that's really good now. Now Whiz, again, I'd never heard of this. And I've got to say, for me, this is the worst game on the collection. I really don't think this is very good. It's kind of a very primitive run and gun. But it never seems, unless I'm doing something wrong and not doing something which I should be doing, it never seems to change really. And it's really quite a boring game. I love how bright and colourful it is. And if you take a hit, you lose the ability to fire, and you've just got your claw to hit people with. You can see your progress on the stage there, SBG, start, and what B stands for, it's obviously the midpoint. And you just press up and down to flick between the 2 levels. See, now I've took a hit there, so I've lost my ability to fire. Oh, I don't know what that's done. Where's that took me? Deaded. Couldn't fire. Couldn't kill him. Can't kill that blue one for some reason. And fell down the hole. Oh, you can fall down the hole. And you can't kill those. I don't know. Just seems a very primitive kind of run and gun. Not overly impressed with Whiz. Metal Soldier ISAC. Now I've got to say, I'm not overly impressed with this either. This is a very primitive kind of shooter where you're in this mech to start with, but as soon as you take a hit, you end up as a really small ship like that. And this reminds me of Granada on the Mega Drive. I don't know, doesn't strike me as being very good, this one. No, I'm not overly impressed with that. It may need more time, but... Right, Extermination from 1987. Now I think this is rather good. This is like a ground-based shooter, as you can see, much in the vein of Undead Line and Elemental Master on the Mega Drive. Then you get you get those kind of tunnels open up, and you can go down there and then reappear later in the level. And that seems to be like power-ups down there. Not a bad game, that. Now we've got Dr. Topple Tank Kentai. This is kind of a quite primitive vertical shooter. It reminds me very much of Parodius. And you've got these like options you collect, which is like kind of R-type, and but what I like is you can maneuver them and then lock them in position. Which I do like. So although it's kind of primitive, it's not a bad little game. So yes, I think that although it don't look perhaps much, it's not bad, that. Next up we've got Top Landing. Now this is a very strange arcade game. It's not your typical arcade game in any way, shape or form. Because basically it's an aeroplane simulator. And this uses the cyber stick if you're crazy enough to buy one. The cost of them. I'd love one, don't get me wrong. This is just a kind of start-up training level, if you like. But it gives you the idea of what it's like, really. It's basically a flight simulator like you used to see on the Krypton Factor. and I do like Densher to go, so this kind of appeals to me. But it just seems really strange for an arcade cabinet. And then you've got, these are your actual kind of missions, and they obviously increase in difficulty. And the weather effects take more, you know, it might be raining or it might be windy. Basically now this mission, you just land in the plane. So you're just controlling your direction, your speed and your altitude. And you can see it's much like Densher to go this, where you're abiding by the train speed limits and being at the station in time. You've obviously got to land this. And you've got showing you there your distance to the runway, look, 6,000 metres. And you've got your altimeter, obviously. Fortunately, this first mission, there's no wind, which makes life a bit easier. And then, much like Pilot Wings, you'll get scored at the end of the level on how you landed the plane. I think it's really good, I really like this. But so unusual. We descended a bit too quickly there. But anyway, I think that's fantastic. Top landing. Now, Aqua Jack. This I also quite like. This reminds me of a Sega game, really. You obviously see you've got 8 rounds. Basically, it's a cross between Afterburner and Space Harrier, really. You're in a boat, as you can see. You're also controlling the crosshair like Space Harrier. Shooting down the other. And you've also got missiles like Afterburner. Oh, there's mines in the water which I've just hit. And again. And then we've got kind of an end of level boss like Space Harrier. I really quite like this. And that's level 1. Or round 1. I've never seen that before. So that's a real bonus. Now this is Galactic Storm. This is kind of a similar game. But it's also very reminiscent of Night Striker, which is also a Taito game, I think. And this uses the cyber stick as well. So although there aren't many games that do use it, you know, 175 quid, it's so much money. But this is again is much like Afterburner and Space Harrier, and you're in a spaceship, and the controls are inverted like Space Harrier, which always feels right to me on a game like this. You've got missiles again, just like Afterburner. This feels like a proper Sega Super Scaler, I think. Then we've sort of automatically merged into Area 2, much like Afterburner. Really like that game. I think that's another winner. And then the last one on here is Aken B. Again, I've never heard of this, but this I think possibly is the best game on here. This basically is a parody version of Space Invaders. And I really think this is excellent. It kind of parodious meets Space Invaders. Beautiful, colourful graphics, just some proper weird out there art style. Oh, these bombs are cool as well. They take out the entire room, almost like 10-pin bowling, and that's the sound effect as well. And I think it's every after stage 4 there's a bonus level and a boss. Oh no, after 3 there's a bonus stage. And then you get a boss. And that's the boss sorted. This is really good, and that's round 1 clear. And obviously you move on to the next level, and obviously it's going to get a lot harder. So overall, while it's perhaps not an amazing package of games, there are some really quirky, obscure stuff on here, I would say, and that's definitely, I think, my favourite. I also like Galactic Storm and Aqua Jack. I think both of those are excellent, very reminiscent of Sega Superscalers. I love the quirkiness of Top Landing. That does appeal to me. Like I say, if you like Denture to Go, I think you're going to like that. That's a mediocre shooter, but it's not rubbish. It's reasonable. Extermination, yes, I do like that. Again, if you like Elemental Master, I think you're going to like that. But it's not as good as the other games, or some of the other games on here. I think Metal Soldier ISAC is quite poor. Not keen on that. And I think Whiz is quite poor. They're the worst two on the card, I would say. I would probably say Metal Soldier is the worst, followed by Whiz. Rumble Umber I wasn't sure about to start with, but I actually really think that is quite good now. A proper old school single screen arcade game which is bang up my street these days. I've never played it before or heard of it. I'd say that's a winner. And then Mr. Do is a great game. So that's Arcade Memories Volume 3 for the Taito Egret Mini 2. Have you got one? Are you buying this? What do you think of these games? Let me know in the comments. It'd be great to hear from you. I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas. Might do a Christmas pickups next if Santa brings me anything, and then after that it might be the annual game room tour if I can work out how to do it. I'm not sure how I'm going to go about it because I want to kind of do both rooms in one, so I don't know, it needs a bit more thought, but hopefully I'll get to that very soon. But Merry Christmas everybody anyway, see you soon, sayonara.